This is ANN News Brief.
2 more persons have been killed in Guinea on Monday as protesters and police clashed during a funeral procession for those killed in earlier protests. Demonstrators were out over a suspected effort by President Alpha Conde to extend his mandate. Police used tear gas, batons, and hot water cannons when violence broke out during a procession in the capital, Conakry, to mark the burial of 11 persons killed during protests in October. Police spokesman Moria Kaba said on state television some were wounded and there was loss of life. Opposition leader Selo Delaine Diallo told journalists the victims were killed by live bullets. Organizers of the protests, Rocking the Nation, a coalition of politicians and activists, are opposed to a constitutional change that could let 81-year-old President Conde run a third term after he asked his government last month to look into drafting a new constitution. Sudan is planning cash transfers for poor people to accompany planned subsidies for food and other basic goods. Shortages of bread, fuel, medicine, and hefty price rises brought people out in protest and led to the toppling of longtime ruler Omar Al-Bashir in April. The economy has remained in turmoil. Politicians negotiated a 3-year power-sharing deal between the military and civilians. Prime Minister Abdallah Hamdok says the country was looking into cash transfers as one scenario to offset a cut in food and other subsidies. Hamdok says the plan included subsidies for drugs, medical services, and education. In September, Hamdok's government announced a 9-month economic rescue plan aimed at curbing rampant inflation while ensuring supplies of basic goods. The plan would keep bread and petroleum subsidies in place until at least June 2020. We'll be right back.
We are on the road every day, canvassing throughout Africa for news you really need. We follow the story everywhere, from every corner of Nigeria to the wide African expanse. We bring you what's making headlines. We connect you with news you can use. ANN, African News Network, in a truly African spirit.
The White House says U.S. President Donald Trump has spoken with Egyptian President Abdel Fattah Al-Sisi on Monday in support for negotiations between Egypt, Ethiopia, and Sudan over a giant hydroelectric dam on Ethiopia's Blue Nile. Egypt's foreign minister said last week the Trump administration had invited the 3 countries to a meeting this week in Washington to try to break the deadlock in the talks. Egypt fears the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam could restrict already scarce supplies of water from the Nile, on which it is almost entirely dependent. Ethiopia says the dam is crucial to its economic development. White House spokesman Jude Derry said in a statement President Trump has expressed support for Egypt, Ethiopia, and Sudan's ongoing negotiations to reach a collaborative agreement on the Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam. That is ANN News Brief. For details on these and other breaking stories, visit our website, annafrica.news. Conversation continues on our social media platforms, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at ANN Africa TV. I'm Lucy Ademi.